Dr. Kemi for IJ Mohbad. Part 2. Yabo lied. She lied about a lot of things. Yabo already knew Wumi before all this happened. Yabo knew Wumi from the Malian house. She used to take her daughter and her son over there. And she was trying to get Naira Marley to sign an artist, and Naira didn't sign that artist. And she spent time with Naira Marley. She and her daughter Priscilla both had sex with Naira Marley in the Marleyan house. And I believe there's a sex tape. Naira Marley sued her for millions, for defamation and all kinds of other things. And her daughter said he has the audacity. These people are accessory to the murder. Let me summarize for you, okay, what really happened as I pieced it together forensically. This case is a case of manslaughter, and others are saying it's premeditated first-degree murder. If someone has been beating you for so long, a domestically abusive woman beating her husband so long, they might say, yeah, it was premeditated. Then we have the husbands who beat the wives so much. Mohbad and Wumi were like AKA and Anele. AKA and Anele fought all the time. They beat each other all the time until the day that she was crying and screaming and went to the balcony and jumped. Anele jumped and died. And Anele's father believed that AKA pushed her. A lot of controversy went out there. Nobody was sure whether AKA did it or not. But if you look at the living room of that hotel and all the stuff that Anele destroyed, and she used cocaine a lot, you can tell she was severely impaired. AKA to the cameras and showed us everything. But in the end, Anele's father believed that AKA killed his daughter. Eventually, all the conspiracy theories started to set in. AKA went to Durban, and in that trip, he went to the barber, he went to a bar, and he ended with dinner, and then he was shot and killed. His friend, Tibbs, also died in that shooting. As soon as they were killed, everybody had their own conspiracy theory. His friend, the DJ, set it all up. It could look like that. Hands gestures from across the street saying, come over to shoot AKA. Several people were arrested in the end. But people still continue to point hands at Anele's father, a rich businessman, because they tracked some big money that went to one of the people they arrested. Some big money went to him, and they said maybe that's the money to do the job. Nothing has been able to be proven. But regardless, the average South African has in their head that Anele's father sponsored the shooting of AKA, which has never been proven. It's the same thing I'm saying here. They were both toxic in that relationship. AKA finally found out his way and left. Communicated with his baby's mama, who has his daughter, his only child. And he moved on to a new woman. And now he's gone. It's the same thing I see here with Mohbad. They were both toxic in a toxic relationship. Even though Mohbad is a music star that people liked a lot, just like AKA, him and the wife always beat each other. Karima is a witness that I think they should talk to because she's already said so much on YouTube and she thinks she's immune to prosecution or being a witness because she's in America. No. She has to do a deposition. That's where you talk to a lawyer on camera and you send it to the Nigerian authorities while the lawyer is there so that they didn't use anything against you that they don't need to. The problem with Nigerians is they don't go to the authorities. They'll get on social media and tell the whole internet first. I told you there was a fight on top of the steps. Adura and Tarisha watched that fight. And other people in the house that didn't talk. And they talked to me. The fight went down the steps. If someone is fighting on top of the steps, what are the chances that they'll leave that area? Because they will fall off the steps. The railing broke and something sharp was used to stab Mohbad in the neck. That stab came from the back of the neck to the head here. And you could see the blood leaking. They tried to patch it up in the coffin, and Mohbad was gone 6 feet under, not knowing that he'll be exhumed days after. You can see the blood and the water coming out there. Rigor mortis has not even set in. So at the end of the day, what you have here is a situation where husband and wife beat each other so badly. But there was a point where one of my eyewitnesses told me that the fight now dragged down the stair to the front door, where the CC camera captured it. Wunmi went to get something out there. Did she get a sharp object on the ground? Did she go to the car, which already had sharp metal and glass from the punching earlier? Nobody knows. But whatever she went to do, she came back and stabbed Mohbad with it, allegedly. The CC camera captured that movement. And she doesn't know. This is the reason why they had to remove the CC camera. When the police got there and they said it's not working, the police did not scrutinize it. They just believed them. It was working. And this is what Taiwo Dumos, to the lawyers, to the family of the father of Mohbad, is saying, that they should scrutinize all those police officers, disband them, and check their bank accounts, because that's the Nigerian way. You have to check their bank accounts and freeze it, because they may have received big money from Wunmi's sponsors. At the end of the day, I did my job. And 4 people in the house can't tell me otherwise. As you heard Yomi Fabi say on the live, a lot of the neighbors that were outside were saying the same thing. And that's what one of them told me as well. He corroborated. Corroborate means what somebody says is now matching what I found. It corroborates what I found. Some of the neighbors said people in Mohbad's house were already crying outside before the nurse came. So they assumed that Mohbad was already dead. As Mohbad was bleeding heavily in the neck, they had that blanket to stop the bleeding. They did not take Mohbad to the hospital. Wunmi wanted Mohbad to die. She did not take Mohbad to Kuramed Hospital across the street. She did not do anything. She called a nurse. First nurse wasn't available, so they called another nurse, saying that Mohbad was scared of the hospital. Mohbad was helpless. They were obviously hiding the fact that it was a crime scene. So at the end of the day, the bottom line was they now kept Mohbad. He was on the ground, and then they carried him on the bed. Yabo arrived there. Yabo made phone calls to Wunmi. Police did not check any of this forensic information. Police did not check Yabo's phone log. Police did not check Wunmi's phone log, Mohbad's phone log. They did not check any of these phone logs, which are now gone. Evidence damage of who called who and for what. Yaba did an alert, and he went to Instablog Nigeria, where Instablog Nigeria put an advert out about Mohbad's death. He died of an ear infection. The nurse was injecting Mohbad with so many things, a whole list of drugs from tetanus to procaine to intravenous diclofenac, ceftriaxone, a whole list of drugs that former CP Owonha listed. As a pharmacist of 35 years, I looked at everything. Many of those drugs were a good combination, but they needed to be infused differently. The infusion, which is the IV, what you call drip, that the nurse made was wrong because she did not have a registered nurse, RN, supervising her as an auxiliary. So she was not prepared for side effects or interactions. She had no epinephrine to counter the ceftriaxone, and they killed Mohbad. Part 3 coming up.